It must have been around early to mid-July, so just a couple of short weeks ago, that I stumbled across a young, beautiful, hilarious creator on TikTok named Grace Rowan. She is not only funny, but she's humble and kind and has this message of self-love and appreciation for the beauty that's within all of us, without hitting us over the head with it. It just shines through everything she does. And while some of her TikToks are like hilarious, where she's, talking about her day or her job or the ugly polo that she has to wear, she's just like, she exudes joy. She just has a gift. And I don't know, I sent her a note on TikTok. We had never talked. I sent her a message. I slid into her inbox and I was like, hey girl, how about you join me on my podcast that 5 people listen to? And I mean, much to my surprise, she responded very quickly, actually. I don't know if I just caught her in a moment where she happened to be on TikTok and saw this random woman show up in her inbox, but she was gracious enough to respond and say, yeah, oh my gosh, this sounds super fun. I'd love to. And, I did explain, hey, here's my podcast. Here's what it's about. Here's what I'm about, without giving her a novel, but just explaining that, my heart is to make other women of all ages feel a little less crazy and to feel a little more seen and understood, and that we're all, walking through life with these shared experiences that we think we are on an island suffering or walking through or celebrating even alone. And it's just not the case. We're all going through so many things that are similar and dissimilar, but at the end of the day, like, we share these experiences of life that there's just connection that can help us feel less crazy. So anyways, I reached out to Grace. She graciously and kindly responded and enthusiastically. And we got together, and that's what you're going to see here. We did a, short podcast interview. I just wanted to know more about her. What makes her so successful on TikTok and how that's affected her, and, just to help share her message of self-love, and that everything God has created is beautiful, and that we are created in His image. And, it reminded me that I have so many beautiful friendships in my life. But not only does Grace's message make me want my daughters to know and appreciate and love who they are for who God made them to be, both on the inside and the outside, but it just made me want to share that message even more with my girlfriends. There is beauty in a relationship with the Lord. There is beauty in having faith and hope in something beyond ourselves and beyond this world. And so I think it's really important to share that more freely. And I'm really just preaching to myself at this point. So if you've tuned out, I'm sorry. Stay tuned for Grace. She's amazing. But if anything, this conversation has highlighted that aspect for me. And so I don't know. I just think it's important as I get older to be a little bit more bold about what I believe and why, and not, again, shoving that down anyone's throat, but being a little bit more persistent when I think it's necessary and appropriate to share that love with people, to share that truth with people. I do think that I just need to be more me. And so that's what Grace helps us do. She shares these TikToks that just, again, like, exude joy, make us laugh, make us look in the mirror, and like help us to see the beauty that's already there. So, Grace, thank you for that. Thank you for highlighting all of these things for me. Thank you for making me pause and appreciate more of who God has made me to be, and wanting to help others see that in themselves. So without further ado, if you don't follow her, Grace L. Rowan on TikTok, she's the best. I'm so glad we met. I hope we get to hang out again soon. We had a blast. I hope you will too. Okay. Hi,
Hello.
Grace.
Yes.
I am so excited to have you on my very teeny tiny little podcast. You are like kind of famous, girl. Soup's fame.
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Playing a little
Well,
fast and loose with the term famous, but it's okay. I like it.
okay. Well, let's go with it because I mean, we don't know each other
Mm.
personally, but you popped up on my TikTok For You page and I thought you were hilarious and wonderful. And I love your message. And I think you're so funny. You're stunning, gorgeous perfection. We'll get into that. But I sent you a message on a whim. I'm like, this young, beautiful girl is not going to want to be bothered with this old mom who has a silly little podcast that nobody watches. But you're everything. Your message seems to be like everything that I want to share, not only with my daughters, but with women of all ages. And that's why I do this. I just really have a heart to make other women feel seen and feel less crazy because we all feel a little crazy sometimes. And you were gracious enough to say yes, like crazy, but gracious.
Thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, I was excited. It's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess let's just kind of start at the beginning. Like
Sure.
you recently just reached a milestone in your followers on TikTok, correct? Like, do
Yeah.
you want to tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about that, how you started and how you grew and how quickly?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got TikTok first when like the height of COVID. And it was mainly like I held out for a long time. I was like, I don't have TikTok. Like, I don't need it. And then COVID hit, and I was like, I'm gonna download TikTok. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
it was mainly just for viewing. Like, I would post a video every once in a while. Didn't really take it serious, or would, it was mainly to consume, not to produce. And then about a year ago, year and some change. Well, it's a little bit before that, my oldest sister started making TikToks, and I was like, shoot, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, I have always been really afraid of what people think of me. And like
Mhm.
very perfectionist and really afraid of failure, almost in that
Mm,
fear of failure, fear of being seen trying. I don't know why, or,
mm,
and so I was like, well, if she can do it. And then a friend from my high school started posting TikToks as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's okay to try things and it's okay to be seen trying, and like you might feel silly
yeah.
and stupid and like whatever, but you can do it and it can be fun. And even
Yeah.
if you have one follower or zero, like who
Yep.
cares? Just do it and have fun. And so then a year and maybe 2 months ago, I just started posting and I was like, I'm just going to do it every day, see what happens. And I pretty quickly hit 1,000, and then pretty quickly hit 5,000, and then that 10,000 was a struggle. I don't know why. And I was like, oh my gosh, it'd be so fun to have it like before I went into the new year. And I did not make that mark. I didn't hit it. And which, whatever, it wasn't like, I need to do this. It was just like, how fun. Like, that'd be a cool, fun
Yeah.
little goal to have. And I feel like social media goals are so interesting because you have no control over them. Like,
Oh, yeah.
unless I created a bunch of like fake accounts, like got myself to 10,000
Yeah.
followers that way. 10,000 was really slow. And then I feel like I was at like 12 for ages, which I say
Mm,
for ages. I know some people who have been posting for years and they haven't made it to the 5,000 mark yet or something like that. So I'm
sure.
saying this in like
Yeah. It's all
relative terms.
relative, right?
Of course, yes.
Hmm.
And so I was like, man, and I was getting so discouraged and I was like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. Like, whatever. And then one of my videos just kind of took off a little bit. I don't even want to say viral because it's not, it's like at 250,000 views, which is,
Oh my God.
it's not even my most viewed video, but
Yeah.
it was like an older video. I was like, why is this? This is so crazy. And then I
What
shot
was
up
the
to like
video? What was
20,000.
it? Was it like your typical content? It just happened to be
It,
one.
I have a really dumb sense of humor.
I
Really,
love
I
your
have,
sense of humor. Well, the
thank
the little
you.
I know of it, I can't act like I know you well, but
Thank you. Yeah, I have a really stupid sense of humor. Truly. My whole family, we are just,
I love it.
we think we're hilarious. So we're good with it. But I had like meal prepped breakfast and lunch the night before. And I was like, if I'm not blowing away in the wind, like we're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
will be contacting my lawyer. I don't have a lawyer, don't know how to get one, nothing like that. But it was like maybe 15 seconds long. Like, and all of a sudden it was just like out there. And I don't know why. But, and then it was like in a couple days, I gained 5,000 more followers. And then now I'm at like 21,000, which is so
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Well, you said I don't know why, and I think I might. Other than I don't understand the TikTok
Sorry.
algorithm at all, and I annoy my kids with being on it. But I think because what you do and what you say resonates with, it's obviously resonating with people, right? Like, yes, it's funny, and I mean, you might call it a dumb sense of humor. If it is, then I have a dumb sense of humor too. So I think it's hilarious, and you remind me so much of my best friend growing up, and she makes up words, she shortens things, and like the way that you talk about something like you do your makeup tutorials, I think I commented the other day because you're like, I'm going to do a little toot. And I just like, it just gets me rolling. And my cousin and I talk that way sometimes. And, I just think, but what you're saying in the video you're mentioning, which I think I've seen, or you've done others with that same message where you're like, oh, if I don't just like blow away, like that resonates with us, right? Because it's like, why aren't I seeing immediate results? Or this just like this culture of stunning, gorgeous perfection, perfect, all the food noise and all of the conversation around women and our bodies and what we're supposed to look like and how we should feel about ourselves. And I think that's why you're seeing traction. And that's what resonated with me. I mean, I have three daughters. One's only two, but I have a 15 and a 17-year-old. And I like every time I see a video that you post where you're like, I'm just like the most stunning, gorgeous perfection. Like it's amazing. SGP, I'm like, I want my daughters to have that. And you don't come across anything but humble at the same time. How do you think you achieve that? Like it's really remarkable.
Thank you. That is so kind.
Well, it's true.
Thank you. That is really great to hear because I'm like, do I just seem like the most conceited person in the
No,
entire world?
no, no.
I think the humor in it probably helps
Sure.
the humility part. Yeah, I so the whole like hot girl thing started. I'm a Christian, my dad's a pastor. I've loved the Lord my whole life. I went to ministry school, like did all the jazz. And I I feel like you can ask God anything. He wants to talk to you all the time. I think you can talk to him about your day. You can talk to him about your
Yeah.
outfit. Like, what should I wear today? What should like he's closer than a brother. And I was living in California and I um I can't even remember like what the situation was. But essentially I was like, okay, God, like what should I do for dinner? And I had like been trying to make healthier choices, not like I worked a very demanding job. I would have like multiple 18-hour days in a week. I would have
Oh my
just
gosh.
really, really I had an insane schedule. And I was trying to make healthier choices because truly, when that is your life, you grab what you can and
Mhm.
if you get water, phenomenal. I'm so proud of
Yeah,
you.
you're right.
And I had a day off and I was like, God, what should I do for food? Like, the thought of going to the grocery store right now makes me want to hurl, but I don't want gross food. I don't want like fast food.
Mm.
I don't. And I was like, what should I do for dinner? And I heard like, what would a hot girl do? And I was like, what would a hot girl do? You know what, a hot girl would do this. And so I was like, that is such a fun, silly way. Like I believe God has a sense of humor. I believe, he created
Definitely.
everything. And if I have a sense of humor, it had to come from somewhere. And so
I love
yeah, so
But
that is
also, okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut
no,
you off.
you're
I was
good, you're
gonna
good.
say though, what did a hot girl do? What did you get?
I it's been a couple years. I think I had leftovers and I just had that.
Okay.
And then like the next
Love
day
that.
I went and played pickleball. And where I lived in California, it was like insanely hot. I know if you're
Mhm,
like by the coast, 70 all year and it's phenomenal. I was in a
mhm,
valley and it
mm,
was just disgusto
wretched.
barfo.
Yeah.
It was like 115 degrees and insane city. And so
Yeah, yeah.
um, the next day I went and played pickleball and I was like, I want something so refreshing. It's been like 2 hours. We decided to play at noon, which we were dumb. That was a really big mistake. But I got an In and Out. double protein style. That's where it's like wrapped in the lettuce. Something like a hot girl would do that. But I don't know if you've ever had In-N-Out. I don't like their buns. I get protein style, not for the health reasons, nothing like that. It's because I simply
Mm-hmm.
like it better than their buns. And so I was like, for sure, I'm such a hot girl. I got lettuce instead of bread, like my stars in heaven, who can be better than me? No one.
I
So
love it.
yeah.
I love it.
So that's kind of how the
Well,
hot girl thing started. But yeah.
I mean, it's like it's funny, but it's true. And I don't know. I love that for you. I love the message you're sending to young women and women of all ages because honestly, like I said, it's a message that we need to hear. There's this dichotomy of like know who you are in Christ, especially as Christians, right? Like we are created in God's image
Mhm.
and we should be grateful for our health and all of the wonderful beautiful gifts he's given us.
Mhm.
And then there's also this like cultural noise of be beautiful
Mhm.
but don't boast about it and
Mhm.
act like it's natural but work really hard even though it's
Mhm.
not. And there's all these fighting messages, but what I love that just bleeds through in your short clips is that you're like, I believe, it sounds like you truly believe and you are stunning and gorgeous and like perfect because you know who you are in Christ. And
Mhm.
you don't necessarily add that caveat to every message. You do have some faith based like things that you've posted where you're singing beautifully singing, by the way, worship songs.
Thanks.
But I do think, I want to go back. You mentioned your dad is a pastor or
Mhm.
was a pastor, is a pastor. And I was going to ask you about your relationship with your dad because, and not to get too personal, but I do think it is important that our girls and us, like we have good relationships with a father figure in
Mhm.
order to inform, not only help inform what we think about ourselves, but what we expect from men in our lives, right?
Mhm.
And so it seems as though, and maybe this is wildly assumptive on is that a word? Assumptive?
Sure, sure.
Presumptuous?
Why the
I don't
heck
know.
not,
We'll go with it. It's assumptive. It is now
I love it.
that that might have been an influence. But you mentioned your dad's a pastor, and I think I saw a video of you mentioning like how wonderful he was. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I have the world's best dad, and that's not a joke. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
to literally everyone else. I've got him. He
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My parents have 5 girls, 1 boy. And so my dad was just absolutely made to be a girl dad. Truly.
Oh, oh, your poor
Like
brother.
he was the only one that got his own room. He's just fine. Okay.
He's okay. He's doing okay. Is
He's
he a
okay.
mama's
And
boy?
yes, and he also like our cousins were my uncle and his wife had 9 children, 6 of them being
Oh,
boys, 3 girls. And we would go
okay.
up and be with him every summer and our neighbor across the street was a guy and they were best friends and would roughhouse and so it's 3
So
girls,
he's fine.
1 boy, 2 girls.
Oh
Truly.
my God.
And
Yeah.
I'm directly below him and I was his punching bag. So like truly he's fine.
Okay.
I'm surprisingly okay. Yeah, no, no. And he and his wife, they have 2 girls. So it's really funny.
Okay.
He's just entirely surrounded by
Surrounded.
girls.
Surrounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, my parents have 6 kids and my parents both did so much better than they had. Truly.
Mm.
My parents leaps and bounds better than what they had. And they had broken tools, but they used those broken tools to the best of their ability. And my dad, like, his favorite movies are Miss Congeniality and Legally Blonde. Like,
I
he,
love it.
I know, he's just the best, truly.
Oh my
Yeah, he's
gosh.
phenomenal. And I, my mother, my sweet, sweet mom is from the South. When you go clothes shopping, like her mom, you pinch and poke every little area, make sure it's like bag enough, and it's just a time. But my dad, I like refused to go shopping with my mom. There's one time for my 8th grade graduation, my mom and I were shopping and we were in like, I can't even remember what store. It was like H&M or something like that. Like an 8th grader would shop there. And then she took me
Mm-hmm.
to New York and Company. And I was like, what the heck are we doing here? And she said, if you don't try this on, we're going home. And I said, get your
Oh
bags.
my,
We're going home.
that's
But my dad,
hilarious.
I know, he was
Like you could have walked out of New York and Company in your three-piece suit and your kid
truly,
meal.
truly. Now I would love that.
I know,
But
right?
as a 12-year-old, I was
No.
like, are you kidding me, mom?
That's
And
so
so,
funny.
but with my dad, it was, so much preferred shopping with my dad just because it was like
Mhm.
this fun thing. Oh my gosh, like I love this. Look at this pattern, Grace. You have to try this on. Like he's a great hype man.
Love
And
it.
he's so precious. He's so wonderful. And all of us girls, we go and we're like, do you like our outfit? Like, I'm 27 years old. And I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you think? Like, do you like my outfit? I love it. Cool
Oh,
hair.
that's
I love how
amazing.
slick back it is. Like,
Yeah.
he's wonderful. But
I
yeah,
love that. My husband is very similar, and I won't take the title away from your dad, but I will say that if there was a runner up, it would be my husband. And
he's the
I have
next
a wonderful
generation. He's
daughter.
the
Yeah,
next
he's next
generation.
gen. Next gen. We'll go next gen.
Yes.
No, but that popped out at me as a possibility and probability because so much of our self-esteem comes from what is instilled in us, right?
Hmm.
And so and to your point about your parents doing better than they had. I think we're all trying to do that, right? Like even though you had great examples, you want to do better and be better in certain ways, and that's not necessarily always a negative on our family that comes before us, but that's what we're all trying to do. Or at least I can speak for myself and say I'm trying to be the things that I feel that I was missing growing up for my kids. And we have 6 kids actually. So
Wonderful.
we have a blended family. But my husband and
Wonderful.
I have been married just over 10 years, and we have 5
Wow.
teenagers and a
Wow.
2-year-old. So the Lord decided we needed another one.
Perfect.
And she's a blessing. Like she's so fun and so cool. But anyways, so we have 6 kids, and I never dreamed of having like to me it's a huge family. Like I grew up
Yeah.
mostly as an only child until my mom had my little brother who is 10 years younger, and then I
Okay.
was so much older.
Mhm.
So I never dreamed of having a big family, but I love it. And so you
Yeah.
must like, are you close with all of your siblings?
Yes, we're all very close.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're each other's best friends, truly.
That's so fun. And you
Yeah.
just posted a TikTok the other day, or maybe I just saw it with your sister when you were getting coffee.
Yes.
And
Yes, that's my
I,
littlest.
okay. So
Yes.
you're second youngest, you said?
Yeah, so I only have one little sister, but I sometimes it confuses people and I'm like, yeah, maybe, I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about a
yeah.
six.
I getcha. I getcha. No, I
Yes.
mean, I think it's amazing. And I love for my kids, they've all grown up together. So, they were 3 and 5 when my husband and I got married. We have the 5 older ones were all the same age, kind of. And
Wow.
they have each other and they're like so close. And they're now all going to be in high school this year. We've got freshmen, sophomore, juniors, 2 seniors, and
Wow.
they're like the best. Like it's super cool as the kids are getting older and you lived this with your siblings. Like they're just so fun to hang out with. And
Hmm.
one of the things that I love and actually was thinking about I'd love to like get your perspective on is generationally, I'm going to be 45. You said you're 27.
Hmm.
Is that how old you are?
Yes.
27. We can cut that. But
Oh, I don't care.
my kids culturally, like they all love the Lord and are serving the Lord, which is a miracle and wonderful and lovely. My husband and I both grew up in the church, but very different church backgrounds.
Mhm.
But one thing that I love for my kids, but we didn't experience is growing up and being so wildly bold about their faith and
Mm.
they all attend public school and I don't think a day goes by that they're not wearing a Jesus shirt or Jesus Generation or Jesus Loves You or Discipleship or Jesus Saves, 1-800-Jesus Saves. Like they wear Elevation Faith, all of those shirts all
Mhm.
the time without hesitation. And when my stepdaughter started doing that, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, when she started like at end of middle school, maybe high school, I was like, oh gosh, like it's amazing. I love that. But I wonder, is she going to get made fun of? But culturally, what I've noticed is it's very common. There's just this shift, I think, well, and that's why I want to know what your experience was growing up and like how you feel now as a content creator being open about your faith. Do you ever feel like this could upset some people, or like what is your perspective on sharing faith on such a public platform, as we all should, right? I'm not saying that's negative, but it is such a different dynamic than what we experienced, I think, in the 90s, which, I know is the dark ages at this point. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, so all of us kids were homeschooled for a portion of our schooling.
Okay.
My little sister and I, we were homeschooled for the shortest amount, because my sweet mother, she was like, I can't do this anymore. And I said, girl, I
I'm
don't
all
blame you at
done.
all.
I'm all done. Yeah.
Truly, truly. And I said,
Uh-huh.
yeah, girl, go get
Yeah.
your badge. You did it. And then we went to public school.
That was a culture shock.
I don't really know. It was my siblings had gone on before me to public school. So it was like
Okay.
I had already
Okay.
like known it.
Got it.
And we were like my dad was a pastor, so he still is. I don't know why I said was, but like we were super involved in church.
Yeah.
We did sports, we did, other stuff. We were just always around other kids. So
Sure.
it wasn't necessarily like, oh my gosh, like it wasn't,
Yeah.
and it was a pretty like mild public school. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah. No, I get it.
When I started going to public school, there was like my family and maybe two other families that were Christians, and that was like it. And everyone knew, the Rowans, they're Christians. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone
No,
was
I
super
fill in the blank. I
respectful.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was super respectful. Everyone, I don't know, like it. I somehow was just like naturally able to talk about Jesus, or no, I don't do that because I'm a Christian and I don't think that's right, or
Yeah. Yeah.
or I just like didn't partake in things, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so it wasn't really hard. And
Mm-hmm.
even though there was like not a ton of Christians in my school, I don't know why it wasn't hard or why it wasn't
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting that you said that. It's like so easy for them, or like it's not a big deal, but because I feel like now it's really uncool to be a Christian. Or, and I can feel nervous. I'm not ashamed of my faith. I'm not ever going to be quiet if
Yep.
somebody asks me. Of course, I believe in Jesus Christ. Like, he's my savior. Love him with my whole heart. But yeah, there are times that I'm like, right, like, we just live in such a crazy world where,
I know.
like,
Well, and that's the point. Like I pause sometimes. I bought a few shirts from Elevation Faith because I'm trying to be cool like the kids.
period.
They don't think I'm all that cool, but I try really hard. Maybe I try too hard. But I have some like t-shirts, and sometimes I will pause before I go out and then I'm like, gosh, Lord, I'm so sorry. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to pause. I don't know why that's my default. But I do think culturally and generationally it is a shift. There's like this
Mhm.
we just went to see Forrest Frank. He was in
Mhm.
upstate New York. He was in Buffalo, and we had all of our kids and a bunch of their friends in a suite, and it was amazing. But they not only we had 18 kids in this, or well, there are 18 of us total, but probably a dozen teenagers in this suite. Loving Forrest Frank, knowing every word, worshiping the Lord, like everybody so excited. And they saw so many people they knew there. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this just didn't exist when I was a kid growing up in the church. Like it was just it was so separate for me, which is
Yeah.
why I think I struggled as I got a little older and in college and made some different choices. But I came back around.
Yeah.
But it's like it's interesting that you said you feel like it's uncool because I'm looking, and maybe it's regionally too. I don't know, but I'm looking at this like world that our kids are in and how bold they are, and it's not even a second thought. And I'm like, gosh, this is amazing. I wonder what trajectory my life would have taken if I had that same confidence.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And so my niece is actually here now. We're having an aunt and niece day.
Oh, fun.
And
Sorry to interrupt.
no, you're
Tell her
totally
thanks
fine.
for
She
sharing.
lives right down the road. We see each other all the time. We're good. We're good.
Oh,
But for her birthday, I took her to the Forrest Frank concert, her and my dad.
oh, nice. Yeah.
Yes, and I work at the venue that he came to.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
so I just got tickets for my dad and my niece, because they bonded over Forrest Frank, and she showed him
I
lemonade, and
love it.
so it was
Yeah.
so sweet. They
I
had
love
matching
that.
T-shirts and everything.
Oh my
But
God.
he set a record for Detroit, for our
Oh
venue.
my
Like,
God.
the highest attended concert that's ever been
It's
there.
amazing.
Yeah, and so I'm like, "Holy moly, this is insane." And I think especially in like the younger, like my generation, I feel like it is uncool or weird, or I don't know how to
Hmm.
say it, to believe in Jesus, or
What are you? Are you Z? Are you Gen
I'm
Z?
Gen Z technically. I was born in 98, which is like the weird middle of millennial Gen Z, but I am technically a Gen Z. But I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up not wealthy, and so there are 14 years between the oldest and the youngest in my family.
Okay.
And so my oldest sister is 10 years older than me. And I feel like I had more of their childhood than someone my age
That makes
did.
sense.
And so I feel more like a millennial, but I am a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 82, which means I'm the Zennial group. So
Mm,
like I'm not X. I'm technically millennial, but I more identify with X
hmm
or like the elder millennials as they call us. So I'm in the same kind of position between those
Yeah.
two massive groups.
hmm
It's interesting. I think you're right. I think the younger millennials slash older Gen Zs, it is a little bit, there's more of that, I want to use the word liberal, but I want to be careful. Mentality of just not to make it political by any means, but just this
mm
like idea of like love and light and everything's good. And right,
Yeah.
it's like
And
not
heavily science.
political.
Like, yeah. Like heavily science. And I believe
Yeah,
I I mean, I believe God created everything and science can tell us how or show us
yep,
how and stuff like that.
agreed. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like my niece, she's Gen Alpha and
Hmm.
I think that's what it is. Or, yeah, I'm pretty
How
sure.
old is she?
She's 11, just turned 11.
Okay.
Um, and there were a bunch of kids her age. There were older teenagers too, and like 5-year-olds. Like it was a massive swing. But
Hmm.
they were all super excited. They like Forrest Frank sold out almost immediately in Detroit. Like just insane.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was a miracle I got tickets and I work there for
Yeah.
goodness sakes. But I think with like her generation, it is people are, I think honestly, Forrest Frank has had a huge hand in that. I think Josiah Queen has had a huge hand in that.
Yeah.
Because I think for, I'm going to say people our age, I know where there's a gap, but I feel like
I'll take it,
our,
Grace. Thank you.
perfect. I feel like for our,
You're making me
experience,
blush.
I know it was like Christians were weird and like didn't know
Mhm.
how to be normal people. Not normal people, but you know what I'm saying? Like it
No,
was,
I totally get it.
yeah.
That's why I was saying I think it was so separate for me.
hmm
It was just I had my church life and I had my school
hmm
life. And not that I was in high school, I didn't do anything bad.
hmm
And my friends knew I was a Christian, but I shouldn't say couldn't. That sounds like an
hmm
excuse. But like I didn't feel comfortable living it out
hmm
in the way or talking in the same way or acting in the same way as I did at youth group or with those
Yeah.
friends. Whereas
hmm
for my kids, I see it all bleeding together. Like my two oldest just had prom. And they were like, "Can we have friends over after prom?" And we were like, "What friends? Like, is this
Yeah.
church friends?" And really, all their friends are church friends. But they had like 10 kids here, so it was like a dozen of them, and they all came home after. They swam in the pool. We made late night burgers and French fries, and like they all sat around a campfire singing worship songs
What a
together. Like
dream.
it's
That's so
it
sweet.
I literally am living out a dream I never knew I had. Like
hmm
that's how I feel about it. The beauty of that and seeing, and I won't get into our whole story, but like to know what my kids and my stepkids, they're all my kids, but I'm
hmm
respectful of other parents in their
hmm
lives, but knowing what they have on the other sides, it's a miracle that not only they are open to serving the Lord, but they outwardly and lovingly and like excitedly pursue a relationship with the Lord. It's
hmm
amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's incredible. And I do think there is this shift. I don't want to be I don't know that I would necessarily say revival, but generationally I do think there is a huge culture shift in how faith is displayed and approached and accepted.
hmm
And I love that for them.
hmm
And it helps
Yeah.
me feel more emboldened in my faith, like I feel like I can do it too. Like they're teaching
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. For sure. For
Have you
sure.
gotten any pushback on social media at all? Like not just about your faith, but in any of your messages, have you gotten any like, do you ever get any negative comments or things that are difficult to handle?
Yeah, it's
Mm,
nowhere near the amount of what I think other people
mm,
experience, especially like plus size creators.
mm.
I know that they go through a lot more than I do, but yes, I for sure received my fair share of.
How do you navigate that? Like do you just drown it out? Do you not pay attention? Do you wrestle with it?
Really, it depends on how I'm feeling that day. There are sometimes that I'm like, okay, so I just posted a video talking about how you're allowed to feel really beautiful. Like you can think that you're really
Yep.
beautiful, even if you haven't met your goals, even if, you know, societal norms would say otherwise, even if, like that doesn't have to determine how you feel about yourself.
Hmm.
And I was like, I believe God created you with a purpose on purpose. there was so much intention in his design, and somebody was like telling someone that like 400 plus pounds that they're perfect isn't doing what you think it is. And I was like, did you listen to what I said? And she was like, why the F would I? Like, and I was like, then I can't help you.
Mm-mm.
You're going to hear what you want to hear. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
even going to try to explain, because if you listen to the video, well, it's not what I said. I even said personally, I was like, do I think my lifestyle is the healthiest right now? No. Am I actively working on changing that? Absolutely. But I was like, that doesn't affect how beautiful I think I am.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, I didn't believe that I was beautiful until I was 21. Struggled
Mm.
deeply with self-hatred and self-condemnation and depression. And yeah, I didn't, this is like new-ish for Grace. Like, so I was like, I can't help you. So in that situation, I was like, whatever. And then I'll have
Yeah.
like, especially like old men will comment and like
Oh,
say crazy things.
gross.
And I'm
No,
like,
ew.
one guy, truly, Yucko Kentucky, this is not a place for you, sir.
I cannot.
But one time,
Bye-bye.
a guy commented, and a lot of the times I'll like check out their profile and be like, your profile picture is literally of a dog. Like when you can put your own profile picture up, then I might listen to you. But his like, he didn't post anything, but all of his reposts were about God and like worship and all this stuff. And I was like, so this is interesting. Like, you're going to comment and say awful things to me, and then your
Yeah.
whole page is about God. And he blocked me, or like made his page private or something like that. And I was like, so sometimes I do like to be sassy back. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
was like, do we serve the same God? Interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting. Curious.
So if they're sassy, I can be sassy back. I'm not saying it's the best thing, but sometimes I feel like people need to realize, like, hey, you're talking to a real person,
Yeah.
and like, I feel like they kind of need to, not like they need to get it back or anything like that, but I'm saying like they need to be like, oh, that was wild. What I said was wild.
Yeah.
Like, there
Right.
was one time, one guy, he was like, back in my day, hot girl used to mean something. And I said, sir, that was a crazy thing to say. And he was like, you're actually right. That was crazy. I'm sorry. And I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
thank you.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a wild, wild thing to say. So then there are some times that I'm like, and
Yeah.
then some people, like some of my followers will go and comment and be like, are you kidding me? What's your
Like
problem?
they'll go after people for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And then a lot of the times I'll just like block or whatever. I try not to read them a ton. And I
Mhm.
get so few that truly like, because I can ruminate, if you will.
Can't we
Well,
all?
maybe, yeah. That's
What
that's how I deal with hate comments.
can I ask what, and again, like if, and you said you when you were like 21,
Yeah,
your mindset shifted?
yeah. I don't mind sharing it all. I'm an open book. I talk about this in real life all the time.
Great.
I from like honestly pretty young. I was probably like single digits. I started feeling really not good about myself. And my siblings, my family, they are beautiful people. And I was always larger, and I always thought larger equaled ugly. And so, um, and like my like childhood best friend was super tiny and also from a really beautiful family. And
Mhm.
you just compare and you find things. And I yeah, from like 7 to like 15, truly hated myself. Like, I thought
Mm.
trash had more value. I would avoid mirrors. If I did look in a mirror, I would tell myself how like disgusting, awful, terrible, you know, if anybody knew the real you, they wouldn't love you, all this
Oh my God.
stuff. And when I was 15, I went to my youth group went to a little conference thing in North Carolina, and I was there, and they had one of their youth group members talk about her testimony that night, and it was like the same thing. But she had, I don't know if we can say this, she had, um, I don't know if we're
Yep.
allowed to say that, and I
Yeah. SH. That is the
sh,
yeah.
that's not funny. I didn't mean it that way. I'm so sorry.
No, no, don't apologize. I gotcha.
And I had never done that. Being a pastor's kid, really, I was struggling with so much, but I wouldn't ever outwardly do anything, because
Mhm.
if someone saw, then they would know. Like, I felt I had the personal
Mhm.
responsibility of upholding my family's reputation. My church is a wonderful church. My parents are wonderful parents. It was like just something I took on myself,
Yeah,
or the
of
devil,
course.
whatever you want to say,
Any
and
crack you can get into, we'll use it.
truly, truly. And so I wouldn't do anything because then if somebody saw, they would know, and then they would think my parents weren't
Mm.
these wonderful people that they were, and so
So this
shame
was part
and
of your thought process, like that
yes,
you like considered doing that, but you were like, I can't because I need to protect my family. That is a lot to carry.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah, and
gosh.
so fear of people thinking something was wrong or shame
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
it did a lot of damage, but it did save me in some areas. So
I'll take it.
I was 15. We went to this conference and this girl was talking about, her experience. And I was like, this feels a little similar. And because of like, I've always cared about what people thought. I was
Mm.
like, she's like, at the end of her message, like in almost all messages, there's the altar call, or if you want prayer, like come up and I'd love to pray for you. And I was like, okay, God, I know I need prayer. I am so scared of getting in her line or whatever, because then
Mhm.
somebody's going to know that something's wrong with me. Like it was so bad. If I was like physically ill, like if I had the flu, well, I guess I wouldn't be at church with the flu, but if I had the cold or a headache or something, like I wouldn't get prayer because I was like, what if people think it's something else? Like truly, it was just like it was
Poor
insane.
sweet girl. Yeah.
We're good now, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just was like so deep in there. And I like half stood in line and I was like, okay, God, like, that I need this. I think you'll make a way. I'm really scared. I don't know how to do this. And like, if somebody was like, are you in line for, I'd be like, oh, go ahead. We're fine. We're fine. And so she walked up to me and she's like, do you want prayer? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I'll take prayer, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever,
you
I
can if you
guess.
want. Yeah, I guess like I'm a Christian. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no to prayer, but she prayed and didn't know her, never met her before. And she was praying. She's like, I just see all of this like self condemnation, and that's not how the Lord sees you. And like you are His creation. He made you. He loves you. Like what you've been carrying isn't yours to carry.
Oh
And
my
the
god.
only way I can accurately describe how I felt and what happened, little disclaimer, I believe the Lord still works and moves today. I believe miracles still happen
Agreed.
and He's still on the move. And the only way I can accurately describe truly what I felt was if I weighed myself before and after, there would have been a difference because I felt the Lord come and take that burden of
Wow.
like depression off. And so from that moment forward, I didn't struggle with depression anymore. It was a miraculous healing. The self
Wow.
hatred one, that one ran a little bit deeper. And
Yeah.
that one took a bit more. So I guess 6 years more. Because that
Mm.
happened when I was 15. And it got a lot better, but it was still like,
No, I
you're not your
yep.
sister. You're
Mm.
not my siblings are wonderful. They never made me feel bad about myself or anything like that. It was just me comparing
Sure.
myself.
Mhm.
And I was 21. I was in my second year of ministry school because I was at work. And yeah, was was literally cleaning bathrooms at the end of the night at work. And I looked in the
Mhm.
mirror and I was like, I'm really pretty right now. Like what? I was like, that's the first time you've ever thought that about yourself.
Wow.
And I had done a lot of work of, okay, God, how do you see me? What like, because this is what I see.
Mhm.
It ain't too pretty. It's not too good. I can come up with a lot of things I don't like about myself, but what do you say?
Mhm.
And did a lot of work like that and worked with really, really wonderful people at my ministry school. And they joke that your first year is all about your identity and how like to align yourself with what God says about you and how He thinks about you and
Mhm.
all that stuff. And then your second year is like all about leadership and how to boldly share your faith and how to whatever. And so yeah, I was just cleaning bathrooms. I was in the Bed Bath and Beyond bathroom in
Oh my gosh.
Northern California, and I said, "You're kind of pretty." And so from
I
that
love it.
moment forward, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy."
So
All
that was
right.
the beginning, that was the genesis of SGP.
Yeah, that was the genesis of SGP. Yes. And then a year after that, a year or two after that, I can't remember. I was sitting in Sunday service and this guy was preaching. I can't even really remember. And all of a sudden I was paying attention and I just like heard in your head, how the Lord talks to you. And I just heard like the cure to self hatred is Psalm 139. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, interesting. And so I started reading Psalm 139. The Passion Translation is my favorite translation of it. And I started reading that every day for a month. And that was when it like really, really changed. Like it talks about how I mean, Psalm 139 is so popular, but one thing that like really sticks out, especially in the Passion Translation, it talks about all about how you were created in your mother's womb in the secret place, and the Lord knew what He was doing and how much intention there was. And the very next verse is how marvelously breathtaking are your works. And I was like,
Mm,
what? Like, it just
yeah.
talked in so much detail about how I was created and how like He knew what He was doing in my mother's womb. And then the very next sentence is how marvelously breathtaking are all of your works.
Mm,
Um, and so um, I, yeah, I really stuck on that. And like Psalm 139, every time I feel a little bit down or not so hot,
yeah.
or have a not girl day, as I like to call it, I'll read Psalm 139. And it's like just crazy what it can do. And I need to like work on publishing it. I made like a little journal of
Hmm.
like, okay, do this for 30 days because I felt like that was what the Lord had said. And so
Yeah.
I need to get cracking on it and publish it.
That's a beautiful story. And just knowing how I was introduced to you on TikTok and your message and what you're saying is like it's just I have chills like as you were talking. I just have chills because the Lord does that for us, right? Like out of nowhere, unexpectedly, you stopped in a bathroom while you're working and cleaning, and you're like, look what the Lord has done.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's
Hmm.
amazing. I growing up, a few years ago, God, what year was it? I don't know. I don't like to talk about it too often, but I wrote a book and I published it, self-published it. And the title was Pretty Christian because I grew up, everyone always, like my mom's response to everything was, oh, they don't like you because they're jealous. And oh, you're so pretty. And
Hmm.
or just I felt like my worth was very tied up in whether or not I felt like I was pretty enough. And I never felt pretty enough, which led to a lot of bad decisions in my young adult life. And so it's really interesting as you're talking about like this like self-loathing. So it's like this weird just juxtaposition where you're talking about like self-loathing because you didn't feel pretty enough. It was like this pressure of like, well, if you're not pretty, then what are you? And my value, like I could never attain what I felt I was supposed to live up to. And so then that led to me becoming pretty Christian, which was like sorta, right? So
Hmm.
that was like that was the basis for the book I wrote that I again don't like to whatever. But it's just it's interesting that so many of us have this same root issue, even though like we would describe it in different ways. But it's this this struggle young women have of our value wrapped up in appearance. I'm not necessarily saying I'm still a young woman
You are. You are.
when I was. But my daughter, she's 15 now, and we are thick as thieves, and I'm just very grateful for that. But when she was 8 years old, she'll probably get mad at me for telling this story. It's okay, Emily, I love you. When she was 8 years old, I had bought her a bunch of summer clothes. I went and like Justice had a sale or something, and I like bought her a bunch of clearance stuff. I was like, look, you got all these new summer clothes. And I remember she was trying them on and she stopped and she was just crying. And I was like, what's the matter? Like, what? Do you not like this stuff? I thought you loved Justice. You'd be so excited. And she was like, do I look fat? And she was just sobbing. And I was like, what? Like, you're 8 years old. Why is that even in your vocabulary? And that just, and I only tell that because it's like, we don't, as much as we try to love on our kids. And back to the point about how wonderful your parents are. We try so hard to instill in them, you're beautiful, you're made in God's image, you're beautifully and wonderfully made. And he knew you before you were created in my womb, and he knows every hair on your head, and all of those wonderful things that we try to instill. The enemy still somehow gets in there and plants these seeds in our kids. And it's that makes me righteously angry, and want to fight for not just 8-year-old Emily, but 15-year-old Emily and 30-year-old Emily and Ella and Ruby. Those are my girls. And all the girls within earshot, which is why I love what you're doing so much. It's just so important. And I don't think, and I know there's a lot of conversation around, self-worth and beauty standards and all of that, but I think there's this cross section of, as Christians though, there's like shame in talking about these things sometimes. Like, well, you should just know you're beautifully and wonderfully made, and you should just know that you're created in God's image. So if you struggle with that, that's a problem, right? And that speaks to some of what you were struggling with, this like protection of your family. Sorry, I'm rambling now, but I just like it's such a burden. It's such a heavy weight for these girls to carry. And if I could take an ounce of it away by having the conversations or by highlighting somebody like you, I just sharing your message, which you do a much better job than I'm doing right now, rambling about it.
You're doing great.
It's important. It's important. It
Yeah,
matters.
for sure. And I feel like we as people are wonderful at overcorrecting, like marvelous. And now it's very, very, very into like, don't comment on other people's bodies. Like, which people have said insane things to me. So don't say the insane things, but like parents don't talk to your kids, like, or obviously talk to your kids, but like, don't call them beautiful or don't call them ugly or don't comment on these things. Of course, never call your kid ugly, but like, please, 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 please don't do that. Please tell your kid that they're beautiful. Please tell
Yeah.
them that you love them, and tell them when they're smelly and gross and they just got out of soccer practice, tell them they're beautiful. When they are all dressed up for homecoming and, feel their best, tell them that they're beautiful. When they've gained a couple pounds, tell them that they're beautiful. When they've lost a couple pounds, tell them that they're beautiful. And if you just consistently say it, one of my favorite stories is of my oldest niece. She's 15. And let me finish my first thought. Wow, let me finish my thought first. I'm so sorry. That was crazy.
You got to say your line. Hello, America.
America. I'm so sorry about that. Kids are going to hear it. Kids are going to hear about their looks no matter what. They're going to go to school. Somebody's going to say something. They're going to be online. Somebody's going to say something. Like, they will hear it. And the power of like first mention, I think is what it is so important. And so if you are told that you're fat and that's the first thing you ever hear about your body, it's so incredibly hard to change that narrative in your mind. And so if you're the first person to talk about your kids, when I say looks, I don't necessarily like beauty isn't only in the shell. It's beauty is so much more than just how you look. Speaking about that. I mean, and I'm not a parent, but as a kid, having that experience, please, 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 please tell your kids they're beautiful and tell them all the time. And yeah, because they're gonna hear otherwise,
For sure.
And so moving on to my oldest niece now, my favorite story is in my childhood, I'm sure I was told, but I don't remember ever hearing that I was beautiful, especially like when I was little and growing up and then went to school. I think I was like on Easter Sunday, like, you look so pretty or stuff like that. But I like on a regular Tuesday, my parents are phenomenal, but I don't remember that personally. And in fourth grade, when I started public school and I was walking and a kid called me Porky, like that stuck with me for a very, very, very long time. But my niece, we would tell Peyton, you're beautiful. Oh my gosh, like you're stunning. I just love your curly hair. I love the way God made you. I love, like he just did it. He made you perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing with it, and you're so kind and you're so brave and you're so smart and just all about, yes, their looks, but they're
positive affirmations.
Thank you. There you go. The words were just not coming to me at all. And in the first grade, a boy called her ugly. And my sister and I remember we were sitting in my sister's house. My sister was cooking. I was in their living room. Peyton was talking to her mom. And we like both dropped what we were doing. We were like, what? Who said that to you? Like,
Get your keys.
And she's like, truly, you drive or me.
Yeah.
And
we ride
it
a dog.
Well, truly. And she was like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I know it's not true. And I was like, what? Like, I remember that destroyed me when I was a kid. Like, I was like, of course that's true. He's like, why would they say it if it wasn't true? You know what I mean? Yeah. And she's like, oh no, like it just rolled off my back. Like I didn't even think about it. And it was almost like she wasn't telling us because she wanted affirmation or anything like that. It was just like telling us about her day.
Isn't this ridiculous? Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't like she's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like I know that's not true. And I just remember I was like, oh my gosh, like, so it worked. You should be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should be talking to your
Yeah.
kids about how marvelous they are.
Those moments are so jarring, but like in a positive way.
Yeah.
Not about her looks, but my daughter was describing a friend of hers boyfriend and his behavior in school, and she was like, can you believe, she's like, if I ever dated a guy who didn't carry my bag or acknowledge my friends, she's like, well, I wouldn't be dating him. And I was like, oh, I'm very proud of you. I was like, where did this come from? We're doing something right. So in those
Yeah.
moments when your kids do say things like, no, of course that's not true, or of course I
Mhm.
wouldn't date somebody like that, or whatever the case may be, it's such an awesome reminder. I think God does that for us, right? He's like,
Mhm.
hey, again, we're learning from them, whether it's your niece or your child or your neighbor or whomever. Like those are the things that you want to see this next generation doing.
Mhm.
And that's beautiful that she had that response. Also, I'd still go find him, but whatever. Just kidding. Where are you? What did you say?
Truly.
No, because I
You
love
called who
Jesus,
what?
but I also,
Yeah.
Mama Bear.
What do they say? It's like I'm from the south side of heaven, so
Yeah, yeah.
chill.
Or what's the other one? Like on TikTok, a bunch like, do you want? I got to decide like if it's going to be my church side or my hood side coming out. Like,
Hmm.
how am I going to respond? But yeah, I mean, all of those things are. We want our kids to, and young women especially, which is what I said when I reached out to you. It's on my heart to just make sure that we all know we are created in his image. We are beautiful. We are intelligent. We are created with purpose. And that's my whole, that's just my heart for every woman, honestly. I know I've already taken like so much of your time. Can we do something a little fun before we end?
Of course.
I
Of
want to do
course.
like rapid fire questions 'cause sometimes this can be
Perfect.
super fun. Okay.
I'll do my best.
I'm going to pull up my list here because
I'll see.
otherwise, here we go. Okay. Ready?
Hmm.
Okay. I feel like I need like a game show, like ding, ding, ding. Okay. What's your coffee order?
Honestly, I've been going to a new local coffee shop and I've been getting an iced maple latte.
Iced maple latte. Ooh,
Hmm.
amazing.
A dream.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Mm. Morning person or night owl?
Confused. I'm just kidding. I'm a morning person.
Afternoon is really my sweet spot.
Yeah, yeah. Hit me around 2 p.m. It's perfect. No, I'm a morning person.
Okay. Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Cat or dog?
Neither.
You're my spirit animal. I'm with you, girl.
Perfect.
Beach or mountains?
Oh,
Favorite worship song right now?
sugar. That's tough. I love Who Else by Abby Gamboa. And I can't remember it's like Abby Gamboa and she's part of Upper Room. I love that one. Honestly, recently, what's really been destroying me is For the Cross by Brian and Jen Johnson. It's an older one. And then He Has Done Great Things by John Wilds and Bethel Music. Just,
So good.
yes.
So good. Go to Bible verse.
I've got a couple. Psalm 139, I love it. And I love,
Mhm.
like, it's practical for people who aren't Christian. You know what like,
Mhm.
I love Acts 2:22. I love Micah 6:8, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind.
Yep.
That's probably 2 Timothy 1:7, I would say.
Love that. My son recites that all the time.
Ah, that was the first verse that we taught my niece. And she would think, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And so it was wonderful.
Okay. 3 words your best friend or maybe your sister, or maybe that's one of the same person, would use to describe you.
Caring, loyal, I guess.
Love. Love. 1 word you would use to describe yourself. Just one.
Intentional.
1 word that describes the season of life for you.
Discovered.
Oh, all right. Okay. And what's one thing you're really good at that people don't know about you? One thing that you're really good at that people don't know. Sorry. Like I said, do you have a hidden talent?
This question is always so tough for me.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I realize I have like some singing videos on my TikTok, but I don't like in real life, other than leading worship on Sunday, like I don't bring it up. So I guess that like if I feel led to sing a little song on the TikTok, I will. But other than that, people don't really know that I can sing.
I think 21,000 people know.
So I guess that's not a hidden talent.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You feel it's hidden.
Perfect.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
whistle and
wait.
hum at the same time.
You can whistle and hum at the same time?
I can sound like R2D2.
How does that work?
it's you just like ooh and whistle. So you ooh.
Could ask anything else. I mean, that's really what a finale.
What? Yeah, what a finale.
That. Grace,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for your, I
Thank
mean,
you.
you're so sweet to not only respond to my message, but to actually do this with me and just share your beautiful spirit on TikTok and with me and hopefully with my 5 people and friends that actually watch me or listen. I'm blessed to have this time to speak with you and like I'll keep watching on TikTok. Actually, I have to funny caveat. I need to tell you this
Yes.
before we recorded, I was like, well, typically, like if I don't know, like if I'm interviewing like a celebrity, you would like you want to know things about them. I'm calling you a celebrity, girlfriend. You'd like Google them or like look at all of their social media so you could be like, okay, like this particular video or tell me more about this part of your life or whatever. But I'm like, this feels like that would be super creepy. Like you'd be like, why is she on all of my videos right now? Like it just didn't feel so I'm like I'm gonna be a little unprepared in like for the sake of not being a creep. That was my lack of preparation in asking questions that maybe I should have known based on your videos. So full disclosure, this is where we're at.
It's perfect. No creep. I didn't feel like you were unprepared, and yeah, we're good.
All right. So I
You
mean
felt
I
very
did
prepared.
just enough.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'll
You're welcome.
continue to like love your videos and share them and laugh alongside you. And hopefully we can connect again because I think you're wonderful. And I'm really grateful to have this time with you.
Thank you. Me too. This was so nice, Katie. Thank you so much for inviting
So
me.
fun.
This was great.
Many blessings, my friend. Stay
Thank you.
SGP. You are all day, every day. Love it.
Thank
Hot
you.
girl forever.
Forever.
Thanks, Grace.